lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It's been one of the premier sites in American road racing since the 50s. The heritage here is palpable, and in tribute to those days of old, today we race vintage IMSA machinery through the trees in the northern Midwest. You're watching round 10 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Young. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beard. Adam, though iRacing's special 500-kilometer event is also taking place here this weekend, the Kamel GT series is still running their traditional 30-minute races all week long. Why don't you tell us about the track they're running?
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are trying to take advantage of that and get some practice in, maybe using this official race for 500K practice with some of those events running a little bit later on. Of course, Road America, well, Road America is one of those tracks that doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. It's been around for, well, I guess a lot of us would say a real long time. I mean, since the 50s. Nowadays, it hosts AMA, it hosts IndyCar, Xfinity Series for NASCAR, and it is just one of the premier racing facilities in the United States, hosting corners like the Carousel, the Kink, Canada. You know, it's one that if you haven't ever raced before, well, you probably should, because you're probably going to have to at some point. With that, we'll go ahead and take a lap around Road America.
All right, we've got Clayton McLeod in the GSRC Nissan, so let's do a lap around Road America. Coming down the front stretch, turn 1 offers a great place to pass, but the corner isn't as slow as you'd expect. That means you won't always be able to do it by out-braking someone. Be careful about dipping wheels off on the exit, and then very quickly you're into turn 3. This is easily one of the most important corners of the track because of it leading onto the moraine sweep. Lining up your exit and getting the power down confidently will make a huge difference to your lap time and hopefully keep you safer from attack. That's because turn 5 is one of the most popular places to overtake. It's got heavy downhill braking from a very high-speed section though, so expect a few drivers to overshoot it throughout the day. Try not to be one of them. From off of there, you'll have a short climb up to turn 6 where the crest can make braking late pretty tricky. It's not hard to miss the apex. After that, you'll switch sides quick to line up turn 7 into the hurry downs. You'll still need a lift through this fast bend, and then if you get a good run, there's sometimes a chance for a sneaky pass into turn 8. Be very careful about how greedy you are on the power coming out of this corner. The turbo lag can loop you easily. Now we're in the carousel, which is a long and patience-trying sweeper. Try not to slip wide into the marbles or else it's a fast trip to the gravel. The best thing to do here is to try to set the car up for the exit to give yourself a good launch. With all the downforce on the Nissan, it means there's no lifting through the notorious kink. The kettle bottoms will weave you through the trees, and then you'll have to stomp the brakes for Canada Corner. This is where a lot of battles wind up in a last lap dive to get by. But as always, you've got to be careful with your right foot as you return to the power. The walls are ready to collect you on either side if you spin. Through the blind 13A, you'll be feathering the throttle, then get ready for the final turn. The curved braking makes it tough to maximize your entry, but it's the exit that should really concern you. Making sure to get a run up the hill is make or break for this lap and the next one. Hopefully, you've kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Road America. There's a lap around the 4 miles that is Road America. Sounds like a long ways, but in the incredibly overpowered Nissan, it's a quick lap around here. Now, there are definitely some passing opportunities. Those are mostly pretty obvious. Drivers expected to make some dives into places such as Turn 1, Turn 5, Canada Corner. But you spent quite a bit of time in the Nissan out here, Adam, trying to get ready for your own 500K a little bit later. Where are some of the problem zones that you could see drivers need to watch out for?
Well, in the Nissan, pretty much anywhere you slow down, it's like as soon as you get on the power, you should be okay. So you're gonna be looking at your low speed corners is some major points. You brought up turn 5. That'll be one to watch out for, especially turn 6 as well. I mean, because that's just a real quick on the gas, you're back on the brakes. And then the kink, I've noticed that the kink is probably gonna be more of a problem with traffic. If you're having to overtake one of the Audis around that time in Nissan, that can get tricky in a hurry if you're not careful. And Canada Corner, well, Canada Corner's tough in any car. That'll be a tough one for the Audi too, just because it's really easy to miss your braking point for Canada Corner. Miss it by a little bit, and you're sailing off into the gravel, and that runoff disappears in a hurry too. And you might be hitting something solid if you're not careful.
You can see the times are starting to come in on our leaderboard for qualifying, which is happening right now. Not a huge surprise for those who've been following this series quite a bit. Keith Ritchie currently topping the timing sheets. Now, Tapani Linnaluoto did go by the start-finish line, but I believe that was his warm-up lap, and he is currently out on his first lap. So he better hurry up and try to get these laps in, because we've only got 3.5 minutes left, and it still takes a decent while to get even the Nissan around here.
Yeah, you're still looking at lap times as far as qualifying in the Nissan, still in that minute 50 range. And so far, out of everybody that's laid down times, everybody's within a second and a half of each other, it looks like. Audi's a little bit slower. You're seeing times right now so far down in that 205 to 208 range. So you got a more wider variety of times there, but still the Audi itself is no slouch, and I think you know that too from your experience driving it, Joe, that you can get the power down on it pretty quick too. So 2-minute lap times around here aren't anything to laugh about either.
Absolutely not. Way faster than what I was doing, although it could be slightly different weather conditions. I was wondering if we could get Miko Ruscola back up on the screen here. Because Adam, I don't know if you caught this paint scheme, but I'm digging this. I can feel this paint scheme. All right, can't quite see the. There we see the side now.
I'm trying to see it a little bit better on my end too. Oh, Hello Kitty, Danger Kitty. This isn't Hello Kitty. It's Danger Kitty.
Okay, there we go.
And it is his banner on the windshield. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Well, I guess Kitty's got claws then, so we'll have to watch and see. Right now, he's sitting second of the Audis. Yoni Hagner has got the pole in the Audis at the moment by almost 0.8 of a second. That could change here as they're just coming around to finish that second lap. Keith Ritchie has put in his second lap, so 149.4 is the highest he will go. Linnaluoto did get himself onto the front row, and he is now on his second lap. He's got about 0.3 to make up if he wants to improve his position. Most of the Nissans actually seem to be finished and off the track. It's mostly the Audis that were waiting to complete. Nico Roscola does not improve. He's going to stay in second. Same thing with Ove Trangrade, who's going to start in third, coming just off of a race in the Lotus 49 out at Bathurst earlier this morning.
That's a quick little trip there from Bathurst to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
The magic of virtual racing, as Bill likes to say. All right, Tapani Linduloto is coming to complete his lap. Let's see what this Nissan can do. The Merc climbs up the hill, and as he crosses the line, does he improve on the 149.7? He does, but he's a 10th shy. Oh, well, Tapani is still going to be on the front row. He could get himself a good launch, and we'll see if maybe he can improve his position once the green flag falls. Looks like that's everybody, so we're going to go through the grid. We do have a pace lap, so we don't have to go through this too quickly. 2 splits today here at an iRacing of the Kamel GT Series. Very popular with the 500K happening. Keith Ritchie is going to start on the pole in the top split, which is what you are watching right now. Tapani Linduloto will be on the outside of the front row with Alex Q starting in third. Michael Houghton will be in fourth with Tim Clayson starting row 3. Just next to him, it's Ardo Ihamaki starting in 6th. Rob Olenek will start in 7th, followed by Boslav in 8th. Tomasz Kozdron will be in 9th with Philip Lake starting in 10th. Marco Kika will be just outside the top 10 starting in 11th. Nick Thyssen, popular guy on iRacing, unfortunately doesn't have the pace here in the top split, is going to start 12th, has a ways to go, and Fabian Jugluth will be 13th and last of the Nissans. Adam?
Yeah, to start at the front of the Audi group, you'll find Joni Hagner up there. Miko Roscola starting in 15th overall, second as far as your Audis. Ovi Trangarita starting in 16th position. Casey Seymour 17th overall. Andrew Bakke starting in 18th overall. That's 5th as far as the Audis, if you keep a track. Ben Lafter starting in 19th, and George Gruber starting in row 10. Then last car in the field today will be Andrew Brown.
Now, you didn't see it on your qualifying screen as we didn't have the times up, but Andrew Bakke and Ben Lafter, who've been actually fighting back and forth quite a bit. Adam, take a look at their times there. 2:07, 2:22, each of them, dead on.
Yeah, it's. I believe I read somewhere that iRacing actually counts, I believe, going down to the millionth as far as the time, and they only display to you the going to the thousandths. So that just tells you how close they were. I mean, somewhere between the tenths of thousandths of a second to a millionth of a second, they are separated. Like, God, what is like that? Has to be like maybe a centimeter. Not even at the line difference.
I was just going to say, if it's down to the millionth, then is that like a fraction of a millimeter or something?
Man, we were going to start getting into nanometers and start thinking just small units of measurement here, and just kind of starts to blow my mind.
Well, while Adam has his existential crisis, the pace car has taken off and will now ride for 4 miles here around Road America before we go racing for 30 minutes here in Elkhart Lake. Adam, who's looking good to you today in that Nissan group, having done your fair share of practice in that car?
Well, who I've at least seen and trying to follow along with this week, you can never, ever, ever count out Tapani Linduloto. And also my experience in the handful of these Kamel GT races I've been fortunate enough to call, and I know he's kind of far back today, but Philip Lake, he always seems to me that he always manages to do better than he qualifies in the race. So look for him to try to get some spots up there, and of course you can't not talk about your pole sitter too, Keith Ritchie, but I think him having a good launch is going to be very much key to try to get over top of Tapani.
I wouldn't doubt any of those. Philip Lake especially, I know it seems an unusual call, but that number 13 Toyota had an incredible week, fought very hard. Couldn't topple Ritchie at Summit Point, but says he ran the most perfect race he could have asked for. So we'll see if the woodworker can do anything here in the North Midwest as we watch the Audis work up under the Corvette bridge around turn 6.
See, now this is where you have to start to appreciate the length of Road America. Being over 4 miles in length is on a full pace lap.
Yeah, this to me is kind of a testament of more old school courses. A lot of those old road courses seemed to be, they were either very short or very long, Adam. There was very few in-betweens, and Elkhart Lake really demonstrates that with these incredibly long, fast straights and the tight 90-degree bends. And of course, as they work their way around the carousel, very unique corner, more than 180 degrees that you have to work your way around. The thing that really, to me, stays old school, though, Adam, is the kink here that they're coming into. There's still no runoff. I'm amazed that they haven't had pressure to extend that wall back.
Yeah, especially nowadays, the safety standards and everything else. You feel like that might be something that comes out one day, but I still very much remember female driver driving
Legg,
car.
I think it was.
Yeah. Okay, so Catherine Legg, that incredible wreck that she had there in the IndyCar coming out of the kink. We got to be getting close to about 10 years or so ago on that, and that'll happen one day. I can almost promise you that they'll have to add runoff there one day.
Yeah, eventually. But for now, we do have the virtual version, which is going to stay this way as long as this stays on iRacing. We can enjoy the incredible grit and determination that it takes to go through that corner here in the virtual world. So one more corner to go for the roof pace car. Then Keith Ritchie can take them racing as he'll lead the pace up the hill. Around turn 14, one that does have the gravel runoff around the outside. We'll no doubt see at least one or two drivers in before this race is over. Roof pace car peels in. Ritchie takes off almost immediately, gets a great jump over Lino Luoto. And already you're seeing drivers start to get single file down into turn 1. Who's brave enough to send one in deep into this medium speed corner? They come together just a little bit. Side-by-side action between Claesons and Ihimaki, but they sort themselves out. Let's go to the Audis. Adam?
Yeah, Audis right now. Joni Hagner had to fight for it going into turn 1 with Ruscola on the inside of him. But Joni Hagner has been able to take sole possession of first place as now they work through corner number 2, and they are away. It looks like everybody is away clean in both fields.
In fact, everybody already getting themselves just a little bit of space. Although Joni Hagner very closely followed by Ruscola down into turn 5, one of the popular passing zones. A few drivers sticking their nose in. Ben Laughter tries to do what he can, but can't overtake Andrew Backey. George Gruber tries to come around the outside of turn 6, but runs out of track and has to slot himself back into 7th position.
Yes, now they all go single file. A little bit of action up in the Nissan ranks, so they've kind of swapped some positions there from about 6th place on back here just the last couple minutes as well. With Nick Thiessen trying to move up just a little bit. No, actually, yeah, Nick Thiessen moving up just a little bit. Actually, he's up about 2 spots. Philip Blake up about 2 spots here so far. And now, see who's that diving to the inside? Marco Kika trying to do something there on Nick Thiessen, just couldn't get it done.
Also side by side with Claesons Ihimaki right now. Ihimaki has the inside coming to the final quarter. Amazingly, they managed to go side by side through 13A, but it's Claesons that goes off, and at a critical point on the lap, look at all the spots he's losing with the pack still clogged together. Once again, Thiessen and Olenek going side by side. Olenek decides to back out of it as they come up to turn 1, letting Thiessen stick his nose in on Philip Lake. Is he brave enough to get 2? They hold door to door coming through turn 1, but he can't get the launch off the corner.
That corner number 14 and 12 to me in the Nissan are the 2 hardest corners on this track. 14 particularly because it's really super easy to run a little bit wide there, and as soon as you put wheels off, you got to do everything you can to save the car.
Thiesen's got another run as we're watching the battle between Olenek and Claesons. 2 by 2, they go through turn 5. Everybody comes out okay. Up at the front, it's going to be Thyssen who managed to overtake Lake, and Claeson's managed to get by Olenek. And behind them, more side-by-side action battles everywhere as Jungbluth gets by Kika in turn 6. Apologies to fans of the Audi field. We haven't hardly touched them.
And that's okay. I just looked in on them. Mostly, for the most part, everybody's running single file right now. So Joni Hagner is still up in front. Rascola is still right there, but he hasn't been able to do anything or even attempt to just take a look just yet. But both the Finnish drivers are running 1-2 right now.
Boy, the Hornet's Nest that is 6 on back, and the Nissans is not letting up because here comes Claeson's on Lake, sending it in very deep down into Canada corner, but can he get off of there? Okay, he finds the grip. Lake trying to come back at him through 13A, but gets his nose chopped off. Finally, they're getting a little bit single file, but for how long? So we ride on board with Claeson's. You get just a little bit of a peek of Olenek having Jungbluth up his tailpipe as they come towards turn 1.
And anybody's out there watching for Vas Slope, he actually had to miss the grid. He had a computer issue, so he actually had to start in the pits, but he has already worked his way through the Audi field and now just hoping he might be able to pick up some spots through attrition or something like that. But he is still running. He's still in this race.
Thankfully on the lead lap, so he can still try and compete with these guys as we switch up to our lead. And look at this. This has come down recently. Before it was about a second between Richie and Linda Luoto. Now it's down to half a second between the Merc and the Porsche. They're starting to pull a gap on third place, Alex Q. A little bit of a new name to me. This is starting to spread apart, so why don't we go to the battle for third and the GTOs, Casey Seymour and Ove Trangarade. Trangarade has had a mixed bag of luck here in the Kamel GT series as he misses the apex at turn 5.
I think we have our first casualty of the day. Andrew Brown, his last time going up around turn 13, got into the grass, got loose, and ended up putting it into the concrete. And he took a tow. We'll have to see if his day is actually officially going to be done here. I'm just grabbing the replay here. So he gets around Canada just fine, runs a little bit wide once he hits turn 13, wheels off in the grass, and tries to save the car, does the hospital wobble, puts it into the concrete.
Well, that number 20 took a hard lick, that's for sure. So not expecting to see him back out. In fact, it looks like he has disconnected. So only 2 cars of DNS so far. Andrew Brown and Tomas Kozdron are 2 casualties, both of them Audis. Otherwise, 19 cars still out on track. That battle for third still very close, and in fact, the train behind them that's starting to form might get involved. Has been Laughter and Andrew Backey have rocked up to the rear spoiler. I don't know what part this is on the Audi. I love this camera shot I've been seeing Dougie Beard giving us lately. That just shows you all the mechanical bits and just how raw some of these 80s machineries look physically.
The old Audi Quattro there, that was just a beast of a machine. And when they announced that they were going to bring it into the iRacing service, I was excited, and here we go. It looks like Casey Seymour, Ove is going to go ahead and make that move on Casey Seymour here. Gets a good look to the inside. Is he able to hold it down? No. Casey Seymour is going to be able to retain third position.
Now as they come down to turn 5, he gets a little bit of a slipstream, but he's under threat because they've got Ben Laughter, who decides to back out of it, doesn't want to make it 3 wide. Justin Ozan for Trangarade as they come around turn 5. And once again, Seymour somehow getting the launch with that 4-wheel drive off the corner. Once again, just off the apex. And once again, he denies Trangarade. This is a great defense from Seymour.
It looked like Laughter almost intentionally saw what was going on with those two, was worried about a little bit of contact. I think he consciously backed off, give them a little bit more room. But Laughter, out of these group of cars right now, he really has a good machine here today.
The robust defense like that, I don't know if he's planning on becoming a regular, but I hope we see more of Casey out here because, boy, this is a great job holding off Trangrade, who is no slouch in this car. A bit wide through the kink. This is going to give an opportunity, but he goes defensive just down the middle of the road, down into Canada corner. Trangrade, and he outbrakes himself. Off into the kitty litter, loses 1, 2, 3 positions, and gets himself down into 7th.
Still has plenty of time to try to start working some of those spots back, but that's going to be a common mistake out of everybody in Canada corner in both of these types of cars this weekend. Nissan and Audi both have a real good tendency to want to overbrake going into, or underbrake going into Canada.
Our old friends, our old rivals, Backy and Laughter side by side up into turn 1 as we switched over our leaders in the Nissans in the meantime. So here we go, back onto that side-by-side battle down through turn 1. Laughter defends to the inside on turn 1, but down into 3. He takes a defensive line. This could hurt him off the corner. He does manage to find the grip and holds back Backy one more time. That lead is starting to close up the front of this GTO field as well. Hagner has Ruskola all over his mirrors.
Well, both these guys have obviously shown a good amount of speed, and Ruskola he's just been there the entire race, but it's like he was just lagging back by about half second to about 0.8 of a second. But now I think he's just decided it's go time. I'm going to go and start trying to make a move here. And as this battle starting to heat up too, our battle in the Nissan starting to get a little bit closer as well between Keith Ritchie and Tapani. So 2 battles for the lead going on right now.
Game of cat and mouse for P1, both in GTP and GTO. Lineluoto was as close as 0.3 down in turn 5. He's lost ground back to about half a second. Is it pretty tough to follow closely in the wake of a car ahead in this Nissan, Adam?
I haven't had too many problems myself, but that might be because I'm also not nearly as fast as what these guys are. But I feel like they handle pretty well for the most part. But we keep going back to Canada corner here. That's where I've noticed the biggest problem, because you're flat out all the way from turn 10 going into turn 12. The kink, you don't need a lift for the kink at all. So in turn 12 is where you really notice it when you try to get on the binders and you realize that, I don't have all the downforce I thought I would to help me brake.
Both Ritchie and Lineluoto now successfully navigate through there. Now they come up to 14. One of the critical turns. Can both of them get a launch? Lineluoto a little bit farther off the apex, and you can see the difference that makes. Just not anywhere near getting up to Ritchie as they climb the hill. Both our lead battles seem to tease us with a hint of something happening, and both have separated. Ruskola also making mistakes down into turn 5 now, sliding a little bit wide. But look at this battle for 4th still going on as Backy cannot seem to find a way past the Commodore Audi. And now they've got Seymour, who's closed the ground after his mistake in a Canada corner a few laps ago. George Gruber also on the tail of this group. Their way through 8 out of the hurry downs and into the carousel. Backy looking a little bit wide there. Maybe trying to square off the corner though. He tucks it back in nicely. Gets himself a launch off of the carousel. Not missing anything up at the front of either class at the moment. This is our closest fight on the track. After looking very strong here on the back half of the course through the trees.
you're going to have the front half of the Nissan field start to catch the back half of the Audis coming up here before too long. So you're going to start seeing Nissans get involved in this Laughter-Bakke-Seymour battle up here.
This is going to make it very interesting in a moment as they come up the hill one more time.
And that's something too for folks that maybe don't watch this series all the time. Maybe you're just joining us for the first time and seeing these Nissans and these Audis out here. These Audis are no slouch on straightaways. Where the Nissans really gain ground on them is through the corners with the extra downforce and everything. All right, there's leaders going by George Gruber. So if you really catch the Audis in the corners, and sometimes you're not able to pass them on the straights, so that can make traffic pretty interesting.
Oh, as we wrote on board, Richie missed a shift. Not the place that he wants this to happen, or maybe it is we could see a little bit of a blockage there. A pick to keep Lenaluoto back. They all managed to sneak through. As third place, though, Hugh having to try and ease by George Gruber there in his Audi at the tail of this train. And he catches them in a horrible place now where there's very few long straights. Trying to sneak by Seymour, just manages to time it right, goes through the outside. Almost feels like trying to tiptoe through cats fighting. Oh, and Seymour with a big slide. Gets himself off into the grass, comes back, but not before losing positions in the carousel. Puts Seymour down into 7th.
One of those positions he just gained back after his earlier slide.
Yamaki being brave down into the kink. Seymour gets an opportunity because of that, with Gruber having to go wide, and they've got the car of Thyssen coming up behind them. He decides to wait patiently, seeing the side-by-side battle happening in front of him. Oh, they come together! Seymour gets into Gruber. They both manage to continue. Thyssen locked him up to try to stay out of him. Nobody hits each other except for the Audis. Now Thyssen tries to work his way through. Probably very carefully now. That was tense moments. Oh, and Lenaluoto up to 2/10 behind Richie. The traffic has really brought them together as they come down the Moraine sweep. Doesn't look like he's quite close enough.
Yeah, trying to get around your two Audi leaders. That's really got those guys together.
He's taking a look.
Everybody's patient. Here comes Richie. Here comes Tapani.
Oh, he just got a nose in, but he can't get the speed off the corner. He's still taking a look as they come up the hill over the crest into 6. They're side by side. Richie holds him off. It's going to switch back through 7. Could this be what he needs? They almost make contact. Woo, these guys are very brave out here. Finally, he fends him off. We've seen Lenaluoto beat Richie.
Now.
Oh, boy. Lenaluoto's beat him on strategy before when they had the long race, the endurance race at Mid-Ohio earlier this year. This time, he's trying to do it by pace in one of the 30-minute races we have. Meanwhile, Marco Kika had some issues. Trying to spot him on my time and scoring. There he is. Well, looks like he had a big off in the midst of the Audis. You're going to see, and all this traffic into the hurried downs. A little bit of gravel as he goes off, sends him swinging, and finally he's able to make it return. Able to continue, however, he's slotted down into 11th after that error. Let's come back up to those Audis once more.
How about that yellow Nissan back there with Boss Slot? We talked about him earlier. Remember, he started in the pits because of a computer issue, and he's actually a spot where he's going to be able to gain some positions possibly on the racetrack here. He's got a couple of Nissans that are in his class within touch.
Slop qualified 8th, so definitely should be faster than some of these guys. It's got to be a relief now finally seeing a Nissan that he's trying to overtake around the outside. Kika hold him off for now, still holding on to that inside as they come to turn 3. Much braver on the brakes is Basla, but too brave as he loses ground mid-corner. What really counts is coming off of there as they are on the moraine sweep. He is well within the slipstream now of Kika. Holding in behind him, just stalking him. Peeks off to the inside as they come down to turn 5. Heavy on the brakes into here. Can he find the apex? Yes, he does. And he still doesn't quite have it done. Is coming back around the outside. Kika's not going to give up. Now into turn 6, hard to hold it around there. And finally, Baslab moves himself into 11th. How about the fight for 16th overall? Laughter trying to hold off Seymour. Backy is still in the thick of this as well. This is for 4th place in the GTO field.
Something happened with Andrew Backy. I'm looking at him. He's got pretty good front end damage at some point.
I'm not sure if he had an off or anything. But as we ride on board with Laughter, we're looking back at Seymour, who doesn't appear to have any damage on his front. They brake hard for Canada corner.
Oh, him and this might be too far to go back. I believe it's going into turn 1 on Andrew's lap 8. He got into contact with Ben Laughter when it was Backy, Laughter, and Nick Thiessen that ended up going 3 wide. And excuse me, that was not turn 1, it was turn 3. And a little bit of contact there, and that's where the damage came from.
That also explains why Backy is as far back as he is. Usually up fighting with these guys.
It was ended up being in a gaggle, lost several positions over it.
Still got time to regain it. 10 minutes left. We're 2/3 of the way through this race. You can see Backy's damage as well. Up at the front, we're not missing anything with the GTPs. Richie's pulled out to about 1.5 seconds over Lineluoto now. Same thing with the Audis, it looks like. Joni Hagner in the GTO field has 4 seconds over Ruscola. I'm not sure if that's due to traffic and him just getting a little bit better brakes or what, but he is certainly looking strong in that number 3 Toyota. Ruscola with a fine showing, though. Being the top split of 2, this 2nd place is going to be nothing to be ashamed of.
And he's obviously shown that he has the pace, so you're probably right. It was probably traffic or something like that caused the big gap between them. But yeah, 2nd place, be a good points day.
Well, with us being 2/3 of the way through, let's give you an update of the top 5 of each class in the Nissans. Keith Ritchie, as we mentioned, leading the way since the drop of the green, not without a few threats from Tapani Lineluoto. He's keeping him honest, sitting there in 2nd. They have started to stretch away from Alex Q, who hasn't looked like he's going to be a part of the fight for the front unless a big problem happens with our leaders. He rounds out the podium at the moment. Michael Houghton not far behind him, though, to pick up the pieces in 4th. And Ardo Ihamaki, despite some close moments, is in the top 5. What about the GTO field, Adam?
Yeah, of course, Joni Hagner, we were just talking about him. He's still up in front, and now up in front by several seconds over Miko Ruscola. So those guys have been running 1-2 this entire race. So not much difference up there. You go back a little bit. Ovi Trengereid has, of course, separated himself from that pack that he was a part of earlier on. He's running in 3rd. As far as your Audis right now. And then you go back to 4th and 5th, and, well, for that matter, because we can get them all in one screen, we can actually see 6. So here's Ben Laughter. Ben's been, he's kind of had an eventful day out there. Looks like his finger's a little tweaked. There's some of that contact there earlier with Backy. And Casey Seymour now, who's shown some speed as well, but has had a few mistakes. He's taking a look here on Ben Laughter. Maybe on the outside here, is he going to be able to get it done? Is able to get the good drive, at least enough to stay side by side with Laughter and Seymour here, but Laughter's going to get the better of maybe over under here Not going to happen. So Laughter's going to retain that 4th position in class, with Casey Seymour 5th in class, and then George Gruber right behind them, running 6th in class right now.
Gruber not brave enough to stick it in down into turn 8. That was actually the second attempt from Seymour at a pass. He had to go on the outside of turn 1 on Laughter as well. He's feeling like he's being held up, but Laughter with a great defense so far. It's only going to hold him off for 7 more minutes. And Seymour needs to watch out. Gruber has been looking and poking and prodding. A wrong move from Casey could offer an opportunity for the DH driver to sneak by into that 5th position. This is the closest battle out on track right now. Fighting for 4th in the GTOs. I don't know if you've had some time to try and drive these Audis, Adam, but one thing that I've noted in my practice for the 500K is that they are extremely finicky under braking.
You know, that's actually the reason why I decided to go with the Nissan. I felt like I could handle the throttle control. As you see Seymour now, Seymour taking a really good hard look here, going down the front straight, flying off into 1. Is he gonna be able to hold it on the outside? Or is Laughter gonna be able to fend him off again? Okay, so get through turn 1, still side by side, heading toward turn 3. And Laughter continues to fend him off, but now we're going to head down that long straightaway here as we start flying off into turn 5 eventually. Ben Laughter going to once again move to what would be the outside once they get to turn 5 here in just a moment. Not quite clear Ben Laughter yet, but he's close. Looks like George Gruber's going to go ahead and try to take advantage here, but George Gruber actually runs a little bit wide. Ben Laughter throws it in there. Oh, contact between him and Seymour.
He has found some kind of secret about holding that inside and getting the launch off the quarter, but not this time. Coming out of 6 as it switches back. Seymour finally gets through, but look at the over-under as now Laughter comes back at him, and he's stronger onto the brakes into turn 8. Gets a spot back. This has got to be frustrating for Seymour. Gruber getting a little bit distracted by the fireworks in front of him going off at turn 5. That cost him time. He could have taken advantage of them swapping places back and forth, but now he's nowhere close.
Yeah, you know, it's like with when he ran wide there a little bit, I think it was a little bit of target fixation on making sure he doesn't get caught up in an accident. It ended up, costing himself quite a bit of time. But for now, that's settled down, but that probably going to change, I bet, by the time next time we hit the Road America front straightaway here in just a minute, because Casey Seymour's been able to use that draft well to his advantage, to also try to be able to get up close to Ben Laughter. So this battle will reheat up here in just a moment. I almost guarantee you, as long as that damage didn't hurt Casey Seymour too much.
I'm actually wondering if the damage on the front of Laughter's car is what's causing so much of this fighting. If maybe Seymour is a little bit better in a straight line right now, because he seems to gain as they come down the straightaways, and he's going to get another chance as he closes in through turn 1. All he needs is a launch off of 3 here. We're less than 4 minutes to go. He's running out of opportunities.
And just so everybody knows that, once again, just check, not missing anything here of the rest of the field. Everybody's running single file or alone, so stay here on the best battle on the racetrack.
Laughter leads the way down into turn 5, much safer this time, and ahead of Seymour as they come to the apex and then climb back up the hill under the Corvette bridge. A little bit more of a demure Seymour this time, not on the attack every single corner, just kind of stalking behind Laughter for now. Meanwhile, GTPs, they were split by about 1.5 seconds, but I think traffic brought it back together as Linda Luoto now gets by the car of Andrew Backey, and actually they're coming up on the fight that we've been watching very soon here. Wonder if that'll play a part in either of these fights. Big interruption, wow, and look at the closing rate as Richie had to get on the brakes coming up to the kink. Here comes Lenaluoto looking around the outside, a little bit deeper on the binders, but he's out in the gray stuff, and it's going to go back to Richie coming off the corner, but the fight is on for the lead with 1 lap to go. More traffic now as they come up to the fight we were watching, going around the outside of Seymour, just getting enough space. And it may have called a little bit earlier. I think we're going to get 2 more laps, but only just. Oh, he's got to run on a slipstream all the way to the wall with that Porsche. Goes Richie all the way back, squeezing him out to the grass, giving him just enough room. Lenaluoto, the Finn, tries to carry the pace around the outside of turn 1. Now they come to turn 3. Justin Ozen for Richie. Tries to hold to the apex. He's going to make Lenaluoto go the long way around, but he carries that momentum one more time. They almost come together, and it's going to be a drag race down to turn 5, Adam.
Yeah, they are definitely. There's been a couple of times where I honestly thought you couldn't stick a piece of paper between these two guys. 2 Finns going at it. Probably won't find better battles on iRacing than 2 Finns trying to fight as they head off here into turn 5. He squeezes them, and I could have sworn I saw Tapani get a little bit loose there, but Keith Ritchie back to the lead.
Big slide from Lenaluoto. Richie, actually from Club West, doing a phenomenal job. These 2 Titans, this is not the first time they've been fighting back and forth. White flag is going to come out next time by. And they're going to have to do this one more time.
Don't ask me where I got Finland for Keith Ritchie. I have no idea. but either way, it's a terrific battle between these 2 guys. We all know the kind of power that Keith Ritchie has in these cars, and that was just a fantastic defense trying to keep first, and then fantastic job getting it back.
That was all kicked off due to traffic and Richie not trying to make a bad situation worse with Gruber through the kink last time through. This is fended off Lenaluoto just for a moment. He's now about half a second back. If he can close in here on this final lap, it could give him one more chance. Up the hill, white flag is coming out as that Miller Porsche leads one more time, but can he do it on the next lap? It's the only one that counts here. So far, holding Lenaluoto back at an arm's length.
They are going to at least catch Ove Trangerud here on this lap. They could possibly catch Mikko Ruskola too, so they are not done dealing with traffic here on this last lap.
Might catch Trangerud here on the Moraine sweep. That's going to be where they want to, because up after this, there aren't many long stretches. Indeed, Trangerud lifts to let them through. Both drivers managing to navigate that traffic successfully. Up under the Corvette bridge. Next up is Ruskola. Going to be a little bit trickier here. Richie coming up, trying to size him up, looking not to step on the cat's tail. And he's going to get a little bit lucky here as he just is going to get around the outside coming into the carousel.
Well, if Tapani was hoping for help from traffic, I don't think he's going to get it now. He's going to have to do this one on his own. Well, I take that back. They might just catch Joni Hagner here.
And this is going to give us both leaders crossing the line at once as they come down to Canada Corner. Where are they going to catch Hagner, though? If he catches him in 13.8, that could interrupt his momentum, and that could be incredibly bad. Hagner has no one around. He could stay out of the way if he wants to. He pulls over to the right, lets the leaders through, but I think it's going to be horrible timing for Lenaluoto. And that's going to give the advantage to Keith Ritchie as he comes up the hill and to the line. Ritchie takes the win here at Road America. Behind him, Joni Hagner with a beautiful win here in the GTO field. And that is going to be our 2 winners. Battle happening for 4th. This has been going on almost all race long. Seymour and Laughter. Laughter fends him off through 13A. This is going to be the next only last opportunity. Seymour trying to get the run off the corner, but there's a GTP car to his outside. I don't think he's got enough track. He's got the draft, but as they come to the line, Laughter's going to take it. Laughter gets on the radio with a sigh of relief. There we see Nick Thyssen. Nice job out there today, getting himself into sixth. Not a regular in this series. Thyssen known for developing apps here for iRacing as a third-party developer. Ove Trangere does get the podium in the GTOs. So does Alex Q in the GTP field. All right, with that, we are going to go to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back with the official results as well as driver interviews, and on screen we'll have all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to Road America here as we watched round 10 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. We were in the top split today, a bit of a new experience for us in the Kamel GT coverage, getting a split. And boy, we really got the cream of the crop because they put on a show, not least of which was Keith Ritchie, who came away with the win, fending off Tapani Linoluoto. Those two were fighting the hardest I think I've ever seen them fight. Alex Q coming home with a third with Michael Houghton in fourth. Ardo Ihamaki, a little bit of a quiet race. We only saw a little bit of him in traffic, but he finished in fifth, with Nick Thyssen getting himself a great run, going from 12th to 6th. Apparently races better than he qualifies. Tim Claessens was behind him, finishing in 7th. Philip Blake, we expected good things of him today, but unfortunately it looks like with the talent as high as it was, he was only able to do 8th at best, still an improvement of 2 places. Fabian Jungbluth finishes in 9th, with Marco Kika coming home in 10th. Olenek finishes in 11th today, and Boslav, and even though he races rally cars in real life, unfortunately, because of his misfortune with his computer problems at the start, is only going to finish 11th and last of the GTP cars running at the end. Adam?
Yeah, your Audi field ended up coming home with Joni Hagner up in front, and I believe I see Joni actually waiting to talk to us here in a couple minutes. Mikko Raskola is put up a well-fought battle, especially through the first half of the race. He's going to bring it home in second in the Audis. Ove Trangarita coming home in third place. Fourth place belonging to Ben Laughter, with another spirited battle with him and Casey Seymour. George Gruber was up there as well, fighting, and Andrew Bakke was also in that same group. They were really going at it, and are I think actually our only casualty of the 30-minute race today, Andrew Brown, going to come home in 20th position. I believe we had Thomas Kozdron, but I don't believe he was actually ever able to take the grid, so he will be scored in last place today.
Kozdron did race in the GTP field, or at least qualified in the GTP field. I called that incorrectly, and you're right, he did not start. But let's talk to Joni Hagner, who won in the GTO classes. It looked like he was unfazed for most of it, though he had a little bit of a threat from Mikko Raskola at the start. Joni, how was it from your perspective? We didn't get a whole lot of screen time with you out there.
Well, this was a really good warm-up for the long race today.
Are you a regular out here in the Audi? I don't know that we've seen you much here on the broadcast.
Well, I haven't running this season like a few races, but I win the championship last season, so I know something about the car.
Obviously, as you took a win in top split, and that's no mean feat. Now, are you using this to practice for the 500K this weekend? Have you already run one, or do you plan to run one?
Yeah, I'm planning to run with Ruskola. And this was a good practice for us both.
Excellent stuff. You made it look pretty easy out there in the end, winning by multiple seconds over Ruskola. We hope to see you maybe come back a few more times before this season is out.
Yep, if I have time.
All right, that was Joni Hagner, our winner in the GTOs. And I believe we're going to have Adam talking to Keith Ritchie, our winner in the GTP field, who really had a spirited fight.
Yeah, Keith Ritchie, great job today, fighting, especially the last couple of laps there with Tapani. Walk us through, how those last couple of laps went through and from your point of view.
Well, based on the pace, I knew we reached the Audis once more on the final laps there, and was just kind of hoping to judge them well and make my move at the right point. I made a mistake in the kink where I thought that I was going to be able to get around on the outside, and had to slow up and then move over, and I think that completely that eliminated the gap that I had created, and so made it real close there for the last couple laps. But it was an absolute blast of a race, a lot of great fun side-by-side action, and I just couldn't say more about Tapani and his ability to put pressure on and to maintain control of the car. I always feel like he's a safe driver, smart driver as well, and so it always is a real challenge to try to beat him in a race, but managed to barely pull it off, ran a little less wing than he did. We checked after the race. He ran 6 and I ran 5. That was the first time that I actually raced here with 5 wing. I wanted to try it if the weather was just a little cooler, and I knew if I just kind of managed the tires a bit, didn't overwork them, that I'd be able to keep my grip levels sufficiently high that I could keep a consistent pace up, and I think I was able to do that for the most part.
Now, one of the big questions that I think it's going to be pretty much the theme of the day, and everybody's talking about it. The Road America 500K going on this weekend for iRacing and special events and all that. Are you planning on running the Nissan in any of those races here this weekend?
I am. I'll be running the one coming up in a couple of hours. So definitely looking forward to that, and that'll be exciting.
All right. Well, I'll probably be in that one too, but you can guarantee I won't be in the same split as you. I'll be down here in the bottom somewhere over here. But hey, Keith, great job today, and we'll talk to you again sometime soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and thanks for the broadcast. Awesome job.
And that was Keith Ritchie there, and I think Joe is going to go ahead and talk to Tapani here.
Yes, our second place finisher in the GTPs that was hassling Richie the whole way through. Tapani, boy, there was some aggressive but fair moves going on there. We were really wowed by how much trust there was between you and Keith. Is that familiarity and that trust because of how often you guys have gone against each other in this series?
Yeah, for sure. And of course, the kind of driver he is and I am, I think it works well together for battling, so it's great fun.
It seemed like traffic really was both a help and a hindrance for you in trying to get by him. There were times where it looked like it gave you opportunities and it was taken away. What was your overall feelings on it?
Yeah, I had to use traffic to try to pass because it's if you go within the half second, you lose so much time in the carousel, so it always goes back to like 0.8 seconds or something like that. But when there's traffic, it gives you opportunities, and I had a few of those, but didn't work out this time.
Now, a lot of people have been talking about that 500K race that's also happening this weekend. If you could choose a track that this car ran on historically to mimic another one of the endurance races for the Nissan and the Audi, what would you choose? Would you stick with Road America, or would you like to see another one maybe return next year with an enduro race in these cars?
Well, this is a good track for endurance racing, but well, maybe there would be some other ones too, but I haven't put some thought into it.
All right, well, we'll let you ruminate on that. And again, a fantastic job out there. Even though you didn't take the win, we were all incredibly impressed with your fight there with Keith this week.
Yeah, thanks. I hope we'll see some more battling in the 500K.
Absolutely. That was Tapani Linnaluoto, who finishes second. Up next, speaking of spirited battles, boy, we have Adam ready to talk to Ben Laughter. And at the GTO field, even though he wasn't on the podium, he sure gave us a show.
Yeah, Ben Laughter, part of probably one of the most spirited battles of the entire race. I mean, that lasted a pretty good chunk of the race as well. Ben, tell us about going at it there with Seymour and Backy.
Well, you guys have seen me and Backy trade paint all season, and a couple of seasons ago when these cars were first released, Casey and I had a very similar rivalry, and it was a blast to see both of those guys in one race at the same time. It was a lot of fun. So good racing, a couple of contacts there that I regret, but generally speaking, man, what a blast.
Well, how did that Audi handle around here today? With the weather and everything else, do you feel like it was a good test? I mean, for the 500K, if you're going to be running it.
Oh, sure. I'll be running the second session today. I can't get the afternoon one in, but I had run the Thursday race here as well the other day, and then today. So the Audi runs great as long as you drive it the way it wants to be driven. You know, slow in, fast out, use the all-wheel drive, brake early.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and actually drag down your Mind Trick teammate here, Michael. And one thing that we were talking about here just a minute ago, as far as the team dynamic between you guys, how much do you guys actually work together as far as the series with setups and all that?
As far as these individual races in Kamel and anywhere else, I mean, we'll collaborate on setups here and there, but obviously here we're in different cars. There's no cooperation in the race here. That would be unfair being in different classes. But when it comes to major team events, we spend hours and hours and hours getting ready for races.
And Michael, what's it like having Ben as your teammate there?
Oh, he's the best, man. He's been with the team for over a year and a half, almost 2 years, I think, and he's developed quite a bit. He's gotten pretty quick, and he's gotten very good at defending, as you can see. So it's always a challenge to be behind him.
I'm not fast, but I'm hard to pass.
You certainly were today. I think Casey was he was doing all he could, but he didn't have much for you. Now, Michael, since you're running the Nissan, you going to be running the 500K here a little bit later on today?
Oh, definitely. I'll be getting some food and getting ready for that 3:00 race, I believe it is.
All right. Well, hey, good luck to both of you guys here this afternoon, and hopefully
we got one quick question before they go with that Commodore sponsorship. Are your setups saved on cassette tapes?
Betamax.
Ah, okay.
We never converted. We're thinking about moving to Laserdisc.
Okay. Adam, unless you got any more, I think
I'm good.
We'll close out on that note. Thanks to Ben Laughter and Michael Houghton for
Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Yeah, see ya.
So with that, we're going to wrap things up. Of course, thanks to the Kamel GT community for organizing the VCR series, their own special little series that they keep track of outside of the official points. And of course, thanks to Rob Olenek and Andrew Backey for all their work bringing this broadcast to air and helping us behind the scenes. Also, thanks to Backey for the intro video that he makes week in and week out with those special cool old graphics. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Adam, Amjed, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /GlobalSimRacingChannel. The next race, boy, Adam, I hope you're going to watch this one, even if Sean is back on the call. It's going to be at Charlotte Road Course. That's Saturday, August 26th at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be fascinating. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.